Good morning, all again. Blessed is he who come in the name of the Lord. Amen. Say amen. Blessed is he who come in the name of the Lord. Luke chapter 13, verse 35. Let me start with asking you a question. When was the last time you went to the bed thankful and amazed by what the day has given to you? Something that you has not planned or foreseen. When was the last time? It maybe was a conversation, a chance to meeting with someone, a moment of hope, of beauty, a truth or the insight that change you, an experience when you feel alive. Life felt larger and then more than real when you got out of the bed that morning, right? Like went to bed very thankful, peaceful night's sleep. Okay, let me ask you another question. When has the life taken you completely by surprise? Given you something that you hadn't experienced, or you were glad for it? Think about it. When you were out of surprise. Or let me ask another. Do you remember the night when you were too excited to sleep? Too excited to sleep. I'm too excited to sleep. I cannot sleep, right? Because I get too excited. You couldn't wait for the new day to start. You couldn't wait for the trip to happen for you. I'm asking this more than being energized or enthusiastic about particular activity we laid on a plan for the next day morning or following day. You know about this? Think about welcoming a new life, an expectancy, an attitude of wonder, and an openness to come that may, and feeling that a new day holding something for us, and we can't wait to see what's the next day hold for us. Tomorrow is such a great day. Tomorrow is something very nice. I cannot sleep because I'm so excited. You feel that? Okay, let me ask a question, last question for today. Maybe one more. When have you been absolutely sure you were standing in the presence of God? When? Think about that moment. Think about that moment closest to Christ. When was that happen? Some might say that the face of Jesus in another person. When I see Jesus in another person, I felt like, I was present in God. Someone might say that we saw this as a spirit at the work in particular situation, right? Some might think that, it was the moment when my prayer was answered. I felt that I am in the presence of God. Some might say that like I was in praise and worship in the church and I feel the presence of God. Some might say that I was in my room alone praying and crying and I felt the overwhelming presence of God with me. You feel that? Some might say that when the first time I hold my child, my baby, I feel that God's presence with me. Maybe I hold my grandchild, right? First time in my hand. I feel that, I'm in the God's. I'm in presence of the Lord. Why I'm telling you this? These situations, those times, this experience is a promise of a life and a more life. Life is always coming to us in unknown, unexpected, and unplanned way. You agree with me? Life is always come to us in unknown, unexpected, and unplanned of way. Isn't that promise that life is breaking us in very big news in a small package? When it does, when it comes to us, sometimes we cannot explain it. Sometimes we don't know how does it happen. but we know that happened. You know, the moment when we know it's real, that's where we really start enjoying the life. Those moments, you know why happened? Because we were open and we were available for the promises in the life. And we get so excited about that. Let's circle back. You know, the last week, what we studied? Last week's sermon was about Jesus' temptation in the wilderness. Do you remember that? Jesus got tempted. And it is the same time he's tempted, you know, is something happening. Satan was trying to attack on him, tried to convince him about the future. Do this and that will happen. Do this and that will happen. Right? Jesus was thinking about, make him think like, hey, do I do it? Should I do it? Right? But Jesus answered him from the Bible. Jesus answered him truly in the Bible. Remember, if you have not heard my sermon, or if you want to re-hear my sermon, we will upload it on our YouTube channel. Our church, we created a YouTube channel which we will share, and then you can hear on that YouTube channel the sermon. So now let's come here today. So you know, there has been in our time, in our life, we struggle to stay open to the future. You know, we struggle to stay open. You know, stay open to what life is bringing to us. We might struggle sometimes. You know, that openness to life, that openness to the life is called the call of Jesus in our life. Each and every single person received that. Each and every single person has a call of God in their life. Each and every person should do that. You know what Jesus said? Jesus said that Jesus came, that they, means we, have life and have it abundantly. This is Jesus' word. Jesus' words in John chapter 10:10. I came that they, means we, Jesus came that we have a life and have it abundantly. Think about it. Why Jesus came to us? You know, and it's the same reason what we learn is about Luke chapter 9. Jesus said that he set his face to go to Jerusalem. There's a whole story about this on Luke chapter 9, verse 51 to 56. Jesus set his face to go to Jerusalem. That is why there are so many stories of Jesus healing the blind and the deaf. He is opening eyes and the ears to the promise, to the future, to the upcoming life and life abundant. That is why so many times he tells us to stay awake, stay alert, be watchful. So many times he keeps telling us. He's telling us to keep open to our future as well. He's telling us to hope for the future, for our coming life. You know, that is why Jerusalem, in today's gospel, which Grandma Nancy read, thank you Grandma, Luke chapter 13, verse 31 to 35, that is what happened in the Jerusalem gospel. You know what happened in Jerusalem? What did it say in Jerusalem? This is a beautiful picture of Jerusalem, right? How many of you went to Jerusalem? Grandma Nancy went. How many else went to Jerusalem? We should go. We should do a trip to Jerusalem, you know. It's amazing. But you know what about this Jerusalem? You know what he did it? What it did, Jerusalem? Jerusalem is failed. Is failed. Why? Because Jerusalem has killed the prophet. Now you know who are the prophet? The one who were calling it into the future. The one who talks about the future. They killed it. It has stoned. Jerusalem has stoned to those who sent to bring a life and more life. It has stoned. Killed the prophet and stoned the people. You know, and Jerusalem here is metaphor if you think in many ways. many ways, like us, we are blind and deaf to the promise of God. In which way we do not keep open to see our future? We don't know. You know, in Luke chapter 13, verse 34, it says this: "O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, how often would I have gathered your children together as a hen gather her brood under her wing, and you would not." You were not willing to. You were not. Jesus was saying that you were not willing. Jerusalem has closed to the future. You know, the door to the house is locked. The windows are boarded up. And then says, your house is left to you. Jesus said in Luke chapter 13, verse 35, behold, your house is left unto you desolate. Left unto you. Jerusalem has refused to respond to the promise and give existence of the instance of life. And sometime you and I, point finger to me too, I, are Jerusalem. You know, sometime we are blind, and see to the promise and closed to the future. We closed our minds. You know, you might say, Pastor, how does that happen? It happens when, you know, our life is on autopilot. We are just going through the motion. You know when it happened? When we hold grudges and resentments. We withhold the forgiveness and refuse to accept the forgiveness from others. It's in our suspicious cynicism and rejection of others. That happened. We closed. We don't know what the future holds for us. Because it's all things we declare that's ultimate, and in ultimate we are having the issues. And that's what's going on. That is what's happening when we circle the wagon, draw the line in the sand, deny the hospitality, and refuse to welcome others. When we do that, it happens, you know, when the fear overwhelms us and the power, security, and control become our primarily values. That is what happened. Power, security, control. That is what we do sometimes. I want to have power. I want to control myself. I want to have security. I want to do this. And that's what we do. And that's where we closed our mind to. We closed to the futures. We don't see. We close our mind. You and I are Jerusalem. It's what lies behind our illusion of self-sufficiency. You know the self-sufficiency? Our refusal to listen to others. Our belief there is only one way. And what is the way? Our way. Is only one way. My way or highway. Think about that. We do that. We always had that problem. It's our way. And you know, it happens when the structures, the rules, and the law become ends rather than means. It is what happens when we cling to and become defined by our past guilt, hurts, and losses. We look too much into the past. It's what's going on when we refuse to be self-reflective, to question ourselves and to consider something new. Consider something new. It's on those times when we settle and say, you know what? This is as good as it gets. That's it. This is where it is. Done. You heard that phrase? This is as good as it gets. All there is. I don't see anything else good can happen to my life. I don't see anything better can happen to my life. My life is just that's it. I'm stuck. You know? It's our ability to refusal to imagine, to dream the impossible, And to wonder, and it says perhaps, like perhaps there is something. We kind of stopped ourselves to dream the impossible dream. And it's what happened when we settle mere life, then the more life. Life has a lot to offer us, but we not. You know what we do? We stagnate. It says never stay stagnant. But no, we become stagnant. We become stagnant. Everything is atrophies. We are no longer growing and maturing. We are no longer growing and maturing. Despair replaced the hope, and the nightmare replaced the dream. We get nightmares. Do you have nightmares sometimes? I get sometimes. Our nightmares, it replaced by the dreams. Supposed to have a dream, but we get nightmares. We get despair instead of hope. So we can no longer see or hear the promise of the new life. We close to the future, and where there is no hope, there is no future. Right? No hope. We decline that ending, and our houses left us. Jerusalem closed the door. House has left us. When have you and I been unwilling to be gathered to the life? When? In what way we have closed to the futures? When our house has left to us. Jesus is not accusing Jerusalem. Jesus is not accusing Jerusalem. Remember, the metaphor is you and I are the Jerusalem. Jesus is not accusing us. Jesus is not accusing Jerusalem. He is lamenting Jerusalem. When he finally sees Jerusalem, Luke tells us in this Luke chapter 19 verse 41. As he approached Jerusalem and saw the city, he wept over it. He wept over it. His sorrowing and the protesting, the end, the death, the narrowness, the short-sightedness to the Jerusalem. Yet, he still continue to Jerusalem. He's always coming to Jerusalem of our lives. Always calling us to life, to more life, to a new life. The promise never goes away, even when we do not respond. The event of life is always coming to us in 1,000 different ways, every moment of every day. The promise remains. Life never gives up on us. We can give up on life sometime. This is it. This is my life. This is my career. This is my job. This is it. This is it. I just said this. Just give up on it. But no. God is always with us and never giving up on us. Jesus never gave up on Jerusalem. He never. He had hope. He had hope. He wept on Jerusalem, wept on us. Life will be waiting for us when we reopen, when we are ready and willing to say, what we're willing to say? Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. You think these are just the words to be spoken? No. They described the one whose eyes, ears, and heart are open to see what is coming. These words is describing us. If you have your eyes, if you have your ears, if your heart is open, you will hear this. You know what we will hear? You will hear a promise, a future, and a life. A promise, a future, and a life. What if it all is coming to us in the name of the Lord? What? So think about it. Not is only He, blessed is He. Think about it. Blessed is the future that comes to us in the name of the Lord. What is your future? My future, our future comes to us in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the future. What about the promise? Blessed is the promise comes to us. What about the life? Blessed is the life that comes to us in the name of the Lord. In all these ways, do you think our eyes, ears, and hearts are closed? Think about what ways our eyes and hearts and ears are closed today. What need to be happen to change it? What need to let it go? What need to start with the new beginning? What you need to let it go? You know, is many time in our life we feel that I'm stuck, I'm just here, and there is no future. Let me ask this way. What would it take for you, for me, for us to receive that blessing about unknown promise, unforeseeable future, uncertain life? God is ready to give you the life. Jesus wept for Jerusalem. He never gave up Jerusalem. He is not giving up on us. Jesus is with us. He is not giving up on us. All we need to do to trust Him, ask Him. You know, this is a lot to take a risk. Feel like that way, that hey, I need to take a risk. But that's the risk we need to take with Jesus. If Jesus is with us, who's against us? If God is with you, who's against you? If God is with us, who's against us? All we have to do to give an openness to listen, openness to hear, openness to welcome the new life, openness to take the next step in our life. And that's the way we should move forward in our life. In this 40 days of Lent season, in this time when you are growing closer to God, think about it, what Jesus was asking you to do today. He asking you to let it go. He asking you something to move around from your life. He's asking you something that bothering you, to leave that botherness, leave that sin and start living the holy life. He's asking you to restore that relationship which is broken for you. He's there for you. He want to take a life chance with us because Jesus is the life. He is giving us another opportunity. I'm ready to take that opportunity. Will you ready to take that opportunity? May God bless us all. Amen.